There's something different about riding a road when you know you're not just traveling across Arizona, you're traveling through American history. This year we're celebrating two milestones that don't come around very often. America is celebrating 250 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and Route 66 is celebrating its 100th birthday. That's two incredible stories of freedom happening in the same year. And if you're going to celebrate the Mother Road, there may not be any better place to do it than right here. Hi, I'm the Tombstone Rider. After spending the night in our first leg of this Route 66 adventure in Kingman, Arizona, Bill and I headed for Oatman. It's only about 30 miles as the crow flies, but don't let that fool you. These 30 miles have humbled travelers for nearly a century, and today they're considered one of the greatest motorcycle roads anywhere in Arizona. I've been looking forward to this stretch for months, and we're about to point these bikes towards history. Kingman has always been a crossroads. Long before Route 66 existed, people passed through here chasing opportunity. Miners, ranchers, railroad workers, and dreamers. When Route 66 was officially designated in 1926, Kingman became one of the major stops between California and the rest of the country. Gas stations, motor courts, diners, garages, everything a traveler needed sprang up along the route. Then came the 1930s. The Dust Bowl devastated farms across Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Kansas. Families loaded up everything they owned into overloaded cars and trucks and headed west looking for another chance. For many of them, Route 66 wasn't a vacation, it was survival. Imagine driving an old Ford with everything you own tied to the roof, kids packed shoulder to shoulder in the back seat. Maybe you had enough money for a tank of gas, maybe you didn't. Now, imagine reaching these mountains. No interstate, no divided highway, just steep grades, blind corners, loose rock, overheating engines, and hope. The stretch we're riding today became one of the toughest sections on the entire Mother Road. And honestly, looking up at those mountains, you can certainly see why. Out here you start gaining elevation almost immediately. The desert begins changing around you. The wide open valleys give way to rugged rock formations. Joshua trees begin appearing. The road starts twisting, then twisting some more. Bill and I have ridden plenty of mountain roads together over the years. The Coronado Trail, Mount Lemmon, and so many more. But there's something special about this one. Maybe it's knowing generations of travelers came before us. Maybe it's because so much of it still looks almost exactly the way it did decades ago. Or maybe it's because Harley-Davidson just seemed to belong on roads like this. You know, modern highways are built for efficiency. Straight, wide, predictable. This road wasn't built to save time. It was built because somebody looked at these mountains and figured a way to get through them. Every curve follows the land, every climb feels earned, there's no rush in it, and honestly, why would you want to? Now we're getting into the sections that everybody talks about. Sitgreaves Pass. And if you've ever searched for bucket list motorcycle rides in the Southwest, you've probably seen pictures here. And pictures don't even come close. Hairpin after hairpin, sharp elevation changes, one-lane feelings in places. Rock walls on one side, big drop-offs on the other. It demands your attention. You don't ride this road distracted. Every corner asks a question, and every corner rewards you when you answer it correctly. I see Bill in my mirror disappearing as I take a curve. Then round the next corner a few seconds later, and I see Bill's CVO lean into the curve. That's one of my favorite parts about riding with good friends. You're sharing the exact same experience, just from different seats. Later we'll talk about certain corners, certain views, certain moments, and we'll both remember them differently, but we'll both remember them. If you've never ridden Route 66 through the Black Mountains, put it on your list. Seriously, not because somebody on YouTube told you to, but because roads like this aren't being built anymore. This is living history, and you can still see the original alignments. You can still imagine old Chevrolets grinding their way uphill. You can almost hear trucks downshifting around these curves. You're riding the same pavement where families chased hope towards California. And that's pretty incredible when you stop and think about it. One thing I love about riding motorcycles, you're part of the landscape. You're not sealed in a car, you smell the desert, you feel the temperature changes as you climb. You notice the breeze coming through the canyons, you hear the echoes of your exhaust bouncing off the rock walls. You're experiencing the road, not just traveling across it. There's a rhythm that develops between riders who spend enough miles together. You settle into a comfortable space and you let the road make the decisions. That's motorcycle friendship. Not much talking, lots of understanding. Travelers who struggled through here probably remember the difficulty differently, but I have to think they also remembered the views. Even today, you crest one ridge, you look across miles of untouched desert, and realize Arizona still has places that feel wonderfully wild. Before we roll into Oatman, let's rewind the clock, because this town wasn't built for tourists. It was built because somebody found gold. Back in the early 1900s, prospectors discovered rich gold deposits through these mountains. Word spread fast, miners poured into the area, and before long, Oatman was booming. Hotels, saloons, general stores, thousands of people and money were flowing into town. And for a while, this was one of Arizona's hottest mining towns. Then, like so many other mining towns, the gold started running out. The mines slowed, people left, businesses closed. What had been a booming town started fading away, and by the 1940s it looked like Oatman might disappear altogether. Then something unexpected happened. Route 66 saved it. Travelers passing through stopped for food, fuel, and supplies. The town found a second life, not because of gold, but because of the highway. In the late 1950s, Interstate 40 bypassed this entire section. Traffic disappeared almost overnight, and many Route 66 towns never recovered from that. Some became true ghost towns. Others simply just faded into history. Oatman? Well, they refused. Instead of trying to compete with the interstate, it leaned into its past. It embraced Route 66. It embraced the Old West. And somehow, that worked. One of the things everybody notices when they visit Oatman, the burros. Yeah, they're everywhere. Walking down the street, looking into shops, posing for pictures, looking for snacks from tourists. And these aren't random animals that wandered into town. They're believed to be descendants of the burros miners once used to haul equipment through the mountains. When the mining days ended, many simply were turned loose. Generations later, their descendants still own the place. Honestly, we're just the visitors. The first time you ride into Oatman, though, it's almost like accidentally riding onto a movie set. Wooden storefronts, boardwalks, motorcycles lined up, burros wandering right through traffic like they have somewhere important to be. And nobody seems surprised. That's just Oatman. One thing I appreciate about Oatman, it doesn't pretend to be polished. It's quirky, a little rough around the edges, and exactly what you'd expect from an old mining town that somehow survived everything history threw at it. Gold rush, economic collapse, Route 66, interstate bypass, tourism, and through it all, Oatman kept finding another chapter. And that's really the story of Route 66 itself. The road changed America, it connected small towns with big cities, it carried military traffic during World War II, it carried families west, vacationers east, truckers, dreamers, motorcyclists, and millions of stories, all using the same ribbon of pavement. When the interstate system came along, much of Route 66 disappeared beneath newer roads. Some sections were abandoned, others were paved over, but places like this, they survived. That's one reason I wanted to make this series. 100 years from now, someone else will celebrate Route 66 again. Maybe motorcycles will look completely different. Maybe transportation will change in ways we can't imagine. But I hope this road is still here. I hope people are still leaning through these curves and stopping in Oatman, watching burros wander the streets and realizing they're riding through something bigger than themselves. Looking over at Bill, I'm reminded why trips like this matter. Sure, you can ride these roads alone, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there's something about sharing miles with a good friend that makes the memories stick. Years from now, neither of us will remember exactly what the temperature was, or how much gas costs. We'll remember laughing at the burrows, we'll remember the curves, we'll remember pulling into Oatman together, and those are things that stay with you. The great thing about motorcycles, they slow life down. Not because they're slow, but because they force you to pay attention. You notice places that you've driven past in a car. You stop at little towns because they're interesting. You take old roads instead of the faster roads, and every once in a while you stumble across a place that reminds you why you started riding in the first place. And as America celebrates 250 and Route 66 celebrates 100, I can't think of a better way to honor both than spending the day riding one of the most historic roads in the country. Freedom has always meant movement. The freedom to explore, to chase opportunities, to head towards a better tomorrow. The people who traveled this road during the Dust Bowl understood that. The soldiers who came home after the war understood that. The families who packed station wagons for summer vacations understood that. And every motorcyclist who points their front wheel towards the horizon understands it too. Well, we've still got plenty of Route 66 ahead of us, more historic towns, more stories, more miles. But this stretch, Kingman to Oatman, this one's going to stay with me for a long time. And if you've ever wondered whether it's worth riding, the answer is absolutely yes. Come for the history, come for the curves, come for the scenery. Come because roads like this deserve to be experienced before they're only remembered. Thanks for riding with us. If you've enjoyed this adventure, I'd appreciate if you'd like the video, subscribe to the channel, and come back for the next stop on our Route 66 Centennial Ride. The road's calling, and we'll see you on the next ride.